Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on this 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, because currently we are still just in this ascending channel pattern for Bitcoin. And I wanted to start off this video here today talking about this, and then I'm going to go deeper into the short-term analysis for Bitcoin. Currently, we're still just hanging out in the middle of the range here. And as far as I'm concerned, so long as we stay inside this ascending channel pattern, Bitcoin is simply in an uptrend. Now, the most bearish case for Bitcoin right now is if we were to break down below this ascending line of support, because at that point I will definitely be looking for lower prices for Bitcoin and for Bitcoin to come grab a bunch of liquidity to the downside. Currently, we are not even close to that being the case, so I'm not really worried about it, but I'm just telling you ahead of time that if we were to lose this level of support, which currently is sitting at about 96.5k roughly speaking, then I will start looking for much lower prices. And of course, the inverse of that is also true if we are looking at this resistance to the upside, which currently is sitting at about 107k. So if we were to reach the top here, I'm definitely going to be looking for some kind of resistance or even rejection back to the downside. But yeah, we'll talk about that when we get there. And of course, if we were to break out above this level of resistance, that will be the most bullish case, because at that point we are breaking out of this pattern and there will be no previous resistance to the upside. So again, that's the most bullish case. But before we can even start talking about much more bullish price action, we would need to see some kind of increase in volume here, because so far we are just trending downwards in this volume. Of course, this is only on Binance, but even if you look on other exchanges as well, there the volume is also slowly declining here. Although I do think, since we are about to head into a new week of trading for Bitcoin, I'm recording this on a Sunday, so we're about to head into this new week, and I think it is very likely that we are going to see more volume come into the market once again when the Bitcoin ETFs start trading. Currently, we're trading at about 103k, and if I'm just taking a quick look at the Bitcoin CME gap, this is sitting at about 102.3k, so we're right around that price, and therefore it would not be surprising to me if we are trading right here and then we end up filling that CME gap before getting the next move, either to the upside or to the downside. Personally, if we're just looking at the broader trend for Bitcoin, personally, I think it is more likely that we are going to see higher price action and yes, new all-time highs for Bitcoin instead of getting a big move to the downside or something like that. And that's because, for example, if you just take a trend line like this, yeah, simply this is an ascending line of support that we're looking at. And so long as we are not breaking this trend line, then Bitcoin will just keep making higher highs and higher lows. And if we were to break back down below this ascending trend line here, that would be a first kind of bearish signal in the charts. So if you see that breakdown, we lose that support, confirmed candle closes below, then likely we are coming down to grab a bunch of liquidity to the downside. So that's something to look out for early on in this next week. We can just keep longing everything here, not financial advice, of course. And then as soon as we start seeing a breakdown, then it is time to start looking at potential short positions. And of course, I am talking about the general trend. I'm not talking about the very, very low time frames and scalping and stuff like that. Anyways, let's now take a quick look at the 3-day Bitcoin liquidation heat map. We have liquidity to the upside and liquidity to the downside. So that's why you should also be a bit cautious with that ascending trend line that I talked about a bit earlier, because yeah, it can just turn out to be a wick. So make sure that you're actually looking for confirmation of a breakdown before you start really getting into bigger short positions or something like that. Again, not financial advice, but just telling you guys to be cautious out there, because with these Bitcoin liquidation heat maps, you can end up seeing a quick grab of the liquidity and then just reversing back to the upside, for example. So that's just something to take into consideration. If you want to learn more about how these Bitcoin liquidation heat maps work, or even just technical analysis in general, I recommend just checking out my trading course, which is completely free, and you can watch it at rt1m.com. And you can also find the link to this in the video description. This is literally a full trading course of about an hour where I just share a bunch of things about technical analysis, even for beginners as well. So go check that out if that's something you're interested in. And yeah, like I said, it is completely free. There's nothing you have to end up buying or something like that. You can just go check it out. And yeah, that's that. Either way, that is not the point of this video. Let's take a quick look at the 2-week Bitcoin liquidation heat map. And this is showing a beautiful picture here because you can see that we have a bunch of liquidity to the upside, as high as about 104,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price. And if you guys have followed me over the last week or so, you know that I have been talking about that big level of liquidity over and over again. And I just kept saying, like, I wonder how much longer this is going to be here, because to me, it seems quite likely that we end up taking out that big level of liquidity and potentially even printing new all-time highs for Bitcoin. And now we're very close to actually taking these people out. So I'm curious to see if we end up taking them out, but I still hold the exact same opinion that I think it is very likely that we are going to end up sweeping this liquidity to the upside and printing new all-time highs for Bitcoin. Now, just because I get some comments about this sometimes, I want to be extra clear. Look, I'm saying this conditionally, right? If we now break down below that ascending trend line, then I will still likely hold the same opinion, but it will just take a bit longer, okay? I would still be very surprised if 104K is actually the cycle top for Bitcoin. I personally do not hold that belief based on my analysis. But yeah, if we were to break down first, then it will take some extra time before we end up taking out that big level of liquidity. But I just wanted to make that extra clear, because sometimes I just get comments from people that I've never seen comment on my videos before, and then they tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, or that I'm saying that it can go both ways. No, I'm just giving you the bullish outlook and the bearish outlook, and they are both based on things that might happen in the charts. If we break down below that ascending trend line, then it's bearish. If we don't, then we're simply in an uptrend, okay? That's how it works. Next, let's take a quick look at the Bitcoin ETF flow tables. Currently, there are no new inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs because the ETFs only trade on weekdays. So therefore, in this upcoming week, I'm going to update you guys on exactly what BlackRock, Fidelity, etc. are doing in the market. So stay tuned for that, and make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on to not miss any of these important update videos. Either way, this has been today's market update. Don't forget to check out the free trading course on rt1m.com. But regardless, if you do end up checking out the free course or not, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.